All right, welcome back, everybody. We have our next speaker. I'm so excited to introduce you guys, Ryan Lee from A1 College Prep. He is the director there. He has admissions experience at USC and Columbia. He's a current interviewer at Columbia University. He got his master's in cognitive psychology at Columbia, BA in medicine at USC, WASC accredited vice president, ACA member, and NAC certified. Again, without further ado, all of you who are waiting for the UC admissions, Ryan will be speaking about the 2024 UC admissions trends and strategies. Welcome, Ryan. Please share with us.
Thank you. So today we will talk about UC. I would be going over the admissions statistics. I will be sharing a snapshot of it. I also want to introduce some unique academic pathways that we can proceed in UCs. We are going to emphasize the holistic review, admissions criteria. Yes, we are going to talk about some strategies towards our personal insight questions and rubric for competitive applications. So that's what you can expect. So let's start with the UC statistics. So as we can see and all we know, UC Berkeley, UCLA is public rank number 1, national rank number 20, one of our students' most wanted colleges. UC is a public university system in California. It consists of multiple campuses located throughout the state. UC campus are very well known for the academic excellence and the research contributions. As we can see throughout our chart, UC Berkeley all the way to UC Merced, our public rank for UCs are number 1 through number 42, national ranked in number 20 to 97. All of the UC schools have been nationally ranked within 100 throughout the years. As we can see in the statistics, UC applications and admissions trend has been going down. UCLA and UC Berkeley, very, very competitive, followed up with UC San Diego and UC Irvine. UC Santa Cruz, Riverside, Merced has been consistent within around 30%. Now, in UCLA, last year's data, we have currently about 140,000 applicants, 12,000 admitted with the 8.8 overall admitted rate. Our middle, 25 to 75%, has a high school GPA of approximately weighted GPA of 4.2. And of course, with UC Berkeley as well, we're looking at about 125,000 applicants and 14,000 admits overall, having an 11.6 admission rate. Our middle student of high school GPA will be about 4.15, 4.29. As we can see, there are a lot of applicants in UC. However, what I want to recommend for our students, we do not need to proceed in the traditional majors. As a matter of fact, I would like to introduce a unique academic pathway. I like to call this interdisciplinary majors, where we can combine different majors together. And UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC San Diego has been encouraging a lot of students to join their interdisciplinary majors. So let me introduce a few majors to proceed in the unique academic pathways. In UC Berkeley, we have Bachelor's of Science BS in Society and Environment. These actually were top major from my own students that they've graduated and they've proceeded in graduate schools as well, proceeding in this specific major. UCLA, UC San Diego, they're very, very well known as the BS and the BA in the business economics. UCLA, they're combining mathematics, statistics, and data together, having a data theory major. It's a new major. A lot of students are having interest in this. UC Riverside has Bachelor's of Science, BA in Education, Society, Human Development. As we can see, several different majors are combining in the interdisciplinary majors. We can also explore the joint majors and the dual degree majors. A joint major is a hybrid of two areas for a single degree. It may also be called a combined major. And dual degree, or we can call this a dual degree major, It results into 2 degrees in separate areas of specialization. So in joint majors and dual degree majors, you do not need to proceed for a 5-year undergraduate pathway where you can join your 2 or 3 areas of interest and combine into a singular degree. Let's go into some examples. So joint major examples in UC Berkeley, we have electrical engineering and CS nuclear engineering BS. Yes, those are 2 different areas of engineering combined into a joint major program. And UCLA, we have math, ocean science, combined together as a joint major. Also in UC Berkeley, there's a lot of combined engineering programs. They are very, very well known for the engineering joint program. So if you are interested in multiple areas and finding solutions, I highly recommend to look into the UC Berkeley joint major engineering program. Also, the dual degree majors in San Diego, we have economics and public policy. It's called MPP. Very, very famous dual degree program that I recommend. And we currently have some law degree programs that is associated with master's and PhD programs. And there are some dual degree programs not limited to undergraduate majors, but into the master's and the PhD majors in UC Irvine, for example, the School of Law. So these are very unique academic pathways. 많은 학생들이 UC라고 생각하면은 일반 단일 메이저들을 많이 생각하고 있어요. 내가 의대를 가고 싶다 하면은 나는 바이오를 해야 되겠다, 캠을 해야 되겠다. 내가 공대를 가고 싶다 그러면은 공대의 하나의 메이저만 꼭 결정해야 된다고 생각을 하고 있어요. 하지만 UC에서도 굉장히 유니크한 academic pathway를 제공하고 있고요. Especially UC Berkeley 같은 경우에는 joint major 통해 가지고 electrical engineering, 전기공학이랑 nuclear engineering, 핵융합공학이랑 이런 2 메이저들이 하나의 메이저로 합쳐져 가지고 4년에 졸업할 수 있는 이런 joint major도 있는데 많은 학생들이 이런 기회를 몰라서 놓치고 있는 것 같아요. 우리 많은 학생들 joint major에도 관심을 갖고 찾아보길 바라고요. 내가 만약에 굉장히 특이한 이력들이 있고 내가 여기에서 2개 이상의 관심사를 하나로 합치고 싶다. 이거를 더블 메이저라고 많이 생각하셨는데 이제 dual degree major라고 검색하시고 그렇게 찾아보시면은 샌디에고 같은 경우에는 이컨이랑 public policy, MPP라는 굉장히 좋은 dual degree major가 있고요. 이런 dual degree major랑 joint major를 같이 사용하면은 우리가 한 가지가 아닌 여러 가지의 활동을 4년 안에 우리가 졸업할 수 있다는 가장 큰 이점이 있기 때문에 우리 많은 학생들 대학원을 간다 아니면 내가 한쪽에 관심이 있다. 많은 관심이 있는데 내가 여기에 어떻게 메이저를 선택해야 될지 모르겠다 하는 친구들은 joint major, dual degree major를 같이 search하는 것을 저는 추천해 드리겠습니다. Now, one of the most important slides of the day, a holistic approach. Now, UCs have announced that UC will go in holistic approach. Let me borrow one of the UC admissions, Dean of Admissions quote. As we consider each individual's application and result assured, we do consider each one. We look beyond grades. Also, evaluating your academic achievements in light of opportunities available to you, your demonstrated capacity and contribute to the intelligent life at UC. As we can see here, UCs are not just going to look at the numbers. UCs are not going to just look at your GPA. UCs want to see who you are. So individuals who's preparing for UCs, I highly recommend to ask yourself, who am I? Without the numbers. They like to see beyond grades. They like to see what you can demonstrate, what capacity you have to contribute, and what your leadership looks like. Academic criteria, of course, yes, don't get me wrong, unweighted student GPA is one of the most important elements. Standardized exams are not accepted in UCs. It is score blind. There is a difference between score blind and score optional. Score blind means even though you have a perfect score and you would like to submit, they are not going to consider, where in score optional that you have a choice to demonstrate your standardized testings inside the application or not. You will not be penalized of not giving in the SAT scores. In UCs, you have 20 slots to write down the distinguished awards and competitions. It is very important to know UC are not just looking into an end result. Yes, it is great to have excellence factor and it is great to show excellence factor. However, just because you are a president, just because you are a founder of a club, doesn't mean UCs are going to put more points into your academic criteria. Yet, they want to see the process. They are more interested of why you chaptered those clubs, how you demonstrated those leaderships, and what you've learned. So rather than the end result, I highly recommend that UCs want to see where the whole process began, how the whole processed up to you. So rather than end result, they are looking into the holistic elements of your distinguished elements in awards and competitions. Yes, you are to talk about your projects, your supplementary materials, the research, all the excellence areas that you've contributed into the academia and non-academia factors. And yes, in excellence factor, there is not always a reward, award, or a certificate. You can demonstrate those very specific passion of yours in the personal statements and in the extracurriculars and activities. In extracurriculars and activities, you can see the award section. You have up to 20 activities and awards that you can write with description of 350 words. There are 6 categories here. You can write your awards, your honors. You can go with the educational preparation programs, extracurriculars, other coursework, volunteer, community service, and work experience. Here, you only have 350 words. And here's a very important point. Now, I know that you want to show the very specific passion in the major that you are interested, but here's a very important tip that I want to show you guys. It is not a great idea for you to write 20 volunteer activities or 20 research opportunities or 20 in a singular area. What it means in holistic review, it really means we want to see who you are. Yes, you have a hobby. Yes, you have a very specific criteria that you want to emphasize that is non-academics. You can put it here. No, even though you want to demonstrate your early interest in pre-medicine because you are so sure that you want to be a doctor, good for you. However, I'm pretty sure pre-med elements in high school outside of class was not the only participation of yours. We do see individual who likes to brag about their 100 hours, brag about what they founded, brag about their rewards and activities. Good. However, that's not the only things to put. So please, when they give you 20 activities, when they ask you, they have 6 different categories, they mean it. They want to see all different 6 categories balanced out. And if you're going to demonstrate a very specific point in your PIQs, I highly recommend you to double check that it is written in your extracurriculars and activities here. Now, these are the comprehensive review factors that UC admissions will go through these rubrics. 자, 여기에서 13가지 제가 이제 공개할 자료들은요. UC 입학 사정관들이 이 순서대로 학생들을 리뷰하는 그런 루브릭이라고 보셔도 좋고요. 이거는 public information인데 생각보다 많은 UC 입학사정관들이 저희랑 같이 세미나를 할 때 굉장히 강조해 주셨던 부분이기 때문에 제가 많은 분들이랑 이거를 다시 share하고 싶어요. 자, number one. Academic grade point average. UC has UC GPA separate, and this is not your weighted GPA that you get in your transcripts. Academic grade point GPA, UC use UC GPA. That is based on A through G requirement. Academic performance and number of academic courses beyond A through G requirement is also the second factor that is important. 이게 무슨 뜻이냐면 UC에서는 UC GPA를 A through G requirement의 과목에 한해서 채점하는 것은 사실입니다. 하지만 그렇다고 UC에서 A through G requirement의 수업만 들으라고 권장한다는 것은 아니에요. 우리가 수업을 듣다 보면은 학교에서 제공하지 않는 수업도 있고요. 학생들이 summer program 가가지고 열심히 대학 강의를 듣는 경우도 있습니다. 이거는 A through G requirement에는 포함이 안 되기 때문에 GPA에서 반영이 안 될 수도 있어요. 하지만 여기에서 A through G GPA 반영이 안 된다고 해서 UC에서 그 과목들을 안 보는 것들이 아니라는 점. UC에선 계속 강조하고 있습니다. Number three, UC approved honors and advanced courses. Yes, we are looking at the honors courses and the APs. Number four, eligibility in the local context. Yes, it's only California applicants. And number five, quality of senior year coursework, junior year coursework. 이제 UC에서 우리가 굉장히 잘 알고 있는 부분인데 우리는 점차적으로 더 어려운 과목을 도전하는 학생들을 보고 싶고요. 그리고 우리가 주니어, 우리가 시니어 과목에서도 나는 앞으로 이런 것들을 들을 것입니다도 우리가 분명히 표기해야 되기 때문에 시니어 이어이라고 우리가 원서가 끝난 것이 아니라는 거, 우리가 시니어 이어까지 잘 플랜된 나의 점차적으로 더 어려운 과목, 점차적으로 더 도전하는 이런 요소들을 UC에서는 계속적으로 요구하고 있다는 거 제가 강조하면서 number seven, outstanding performance in academic subject areas. Yes, it is specific into academics. But number eight, achievement in special projects and improvement in academic performance. This doesn't necessarily limit into the academic subject areas. 이제 UC에서는 당연히 academic subject areas를 강조하고 있고 내가 학업적으로 성취한 거, 학업적으로 굉장히 뛰어난 것들을 굉장히 강조하고 있습니다. 하지만 학업적만 강조하는 것은 아니라는 거예요. UC에서 내가 개인적으로 어떤 관심이 있거나 개인적으로 어떤 열정이 있으면 이 관심사와 열정 또한 홀리스틱 리뷰를 통해 가지고 보고 싶다는 것들을 7, 8, 9번에서는 계속적으로 demonstrate 하고 있어요. Number 10, non-academic special talents achievement and awards. 11, participation in education prep programs, academic accomplishment in light of life experience. Yes, academic achievement in light of life experience. Yes. 여기에서 이제 굉장히 강조하고 있는 것은 결과만 보여주지 말라는 거예요. 내가 굉장한 것을 성취한 거 good for you. 너무 잘했어요. 하지만 여기에서 내가 이런 상을 받았다. 내가 이런 챕터를 했다. 내가 이런 퍼블리케이션을 했다. 너무너무 좋은 성과인데요. 여기에서 내가 100시간을 봉사했다, 내가 상을 받았다만 강조하는 게 아니고 여기에서 내가 무엇을 배웠는지, 이 경험을 통해서 나한테는 이게 어떤 의미였는지를 우리가 퍼스널 PIQ에서 demonstrate 하기를 바래요. 이런 아카데믹 요소들을 UC에서 강조하고자 하기 때문에 많은 학생들은 내가 얼마나 뛰어난지, 내가 전교 1등을 했는지, 내가 상을 13개를 받았는지, 내가 200시간을 봉사를 했는지, 이런 결과물적으로 강조를 하는 에세이를 쓰려고 하다 보면은 나 자체가 없어지고 그 상장, 그 200시간의 강조만 하다가 짧은 에세이가 끝날 수 있어요. 여기에서 Comprehensive Review Factor에서는 분명한 Review Factor의 Academic Standpoint가 있지만 강조하는 부분은 End Result, 상장, 내가 몇 시간을 봉사했는지보다는 그 알맹이, 내가 그래서 무엇을 배웠는지, 내가 어떻게 다른 사람이 됐는지, 어떤 근거로 이런 좋은 클럽을 챕터했는지, 그런 나에 대한 스토리가 더 궁금하다는 점을 꼭 명심했으면 좋겠습니다. So, now I know it is challenging and it is quite confusing in holistic review approach. So, what do I need to think? How can I organize my thought? What is the factors that I need to incorporate? How do I brainstorm in UCs? Those are the most common questions that I get. And these are the 8 rubric factors for all of you. So these are how I would train my students to start the whole process. I want to start with number 1, interest factor. What are you interested? How were you interested? It doesn't need to be a singular variable. It doesn't need to start in academia necessarily. We want to see where your interest factor is. How did you initiate? What kind of experience did you get? How did you get into the knowledge factor? How did you learn those experiences? Did you meet a mentor? Did you go to a specific summer program? How did you earn that knowledge factor is initiation factor and knowledge factor. Most importantly, curiosity factor. I told you, it is not good to brag about your achievement, but with one exception. If you want to brag about your curiosity, please. If you are wondering about a very specific phenomenon, and if, like for example, why is there so much traffic in LA? How do I resolve this environmental issues? These are great curiosity factors. These factors you can actually brag out. And in PIQs, there are very specific factors that you can brag about your curiosity factor. Number 5, an engagement factor. How did you engage these curiosity outside, inside of school? And interdisciplinary factor. Yes, I did advise the joint major, dual majors. Those are all interdisciplinary, right? You do not necessarily need to have a singular major point. You do not necessarily have to have a singular interest. We understand. We would like to know where those factors exist in multi-dimensions. Those are interdisciplinary factors. Creating problem solving. We want to know if you can, number 1, identify a problem. Look around. Look around your city. Look around your school. What problems are there? Can you identify those problems? And do you have the creativeness to resolve? When they ask how creative you are, they're not necessarily asking about the artistic, the musical talent, yet they're asking if you can get your hands on to that very specific problem. Can you solve those problems? And they're not asking you, did you resolve the issue? They're asking, how did you get your hands on those problems? Did you actually want to touch base on those problems? And continue. 많은 학생들이 이제 내가 어디서부터 시작해야 되는지를 굉장히 어려워하고 있어요. 제가 여기에서 강조하고 싶은 거는 내가 무엇이 궁금한지가 제일 중요하다는 거예요. 생각보다 많은 학생들이 계속 강조하고 있지만 내가 이룬 것들을 자랑하려고 하는데 UC에서 내가 이룬 것들을 자랑하려고 하다 보면은 에세이도 굉장히 짧고 나에 대한 스토리를 못 쓴다고 했어요. 그러면 어떻게 해야 되는지 내 curiosity, 내 궁금증, 내가 어디서 어떻게 궁금증이 생겼고 어떤 열정을 가졌는지 그 스토리를 쓰면 돼요. 뭘 자랑하냐? curiosity를 자랑하라는 거예요. 그것만 자랑하고 내가 무엇을 이루었는지는 우리가 액티비티에 충분히 쓰고 UC에서 그것들을 보기 때문에 그런 자랑보다는 curiosity에 대한 자랑을 하는 것을 강조하고 싶고요. 그리고 creative에 대한 에세이가 나와요. 이 creative 대한 에세이를 굉장히 많은 학생들이 착각하고 있어요. 내가 미술적 ability라든지 내가 음악적 ability를 여기에서 물어보는지 알고 있지만 여기에서는 그런 예술성을 강조하는 게 아니고 나는 어떤 문제를 인식하고 있고 이 문제를 어떻게 나답게 창의적으로 어떻게 이런 문제들을 해결하고 싶은지에 대한 그런 크리에이티비티를 요구하고 있어요. UC에서 너의 스킬, 너의 탤런트를 보여줘. 이런 에세이가 있는데 여기에서 자랑을 안 하고 어떻게 하냐라는 질문도 제가 굉장히 많이 받는데요. 여기에서 문제를 잘 보면은 너의 탤런트를 over time, 먼 시간 동안 그 과정을 보여줘라는 거예요. 즉 여기에서 내가 어디서부터 interest를 가졌는지의 interest factor, 내가 어떻게 이 경험을 가졌는지에 대한 initiation factor, 내가 무엇을 배웠고 내가 이 경험을 통해 가지고 가진 게 무엇인지 이 knowledge factor, 이런 것들을 자랑하라는 거예요. 결과를 자랑하라는 게 아니고. UC에서는 holistic review를 우리는 지향한다라고 계속해서 강조하고 있는데요. 이 holistic review의 UC의 뜻이 뭔지 모두가 알고 갔으면 좋겠어요. 이러한 8개의 팩터들을 통해 가지고 나라는 사람을 조금 더 있는 그대로 보여주고, 내가 아카데믹 성취감도 너무너무 중요하지만 이런 것들은 우리가 extra curriculum이나 액티비티에서 쓰고, 우리가 에세이에서는 이런 8 rubric factor로 나에 대해서 조금 더 자세히, 더 깊게 그 과정을 강조하는 것이 UC에서는 강조하고 있다는 것을 저는 다시 한번 얘기하고 싶습니다. 감사합니다. 오늘 세미나 여기까지 하도록 하고요. Thank you, everyone. I would be answering some of the questions that is associated with UCs. Yes, it could be extracurriculums to guidance, the PIQs. Please feel free to ask any questions.
Yeah, we can go ahead and get started. Thank you so much, Ryan. I think all of the information that you provided was so helpful. A lot of you are probably applying to UCs, had so many questions, and Ryan did such an amazing job putting all of that together in an easy way for you to understand. One of your staff members were actually on and answering some of the questions that were already in the chat box, but I feel like maybe, Ryan, you can go into it in a little bit more detail because they had some questions about it. So one of the questions was, where do I submit supplementary materials like an art portfolio if I wanted to on the UC?
Oh, that is a great question. Now, in UC specific, they do not have a portal, or they do not have a specific way to submit materials. Like I said, it is very important for you to use the PIQ, the opportunity to express your creativity, express the artwork. They are more curious of why it intrigued you to go through the art path, why you drew those paintings or those materials. In the PIQ section, you may utilize the creativity, you may utilize some of the motive-based questions. It is more easier for you to answer those questions that is associated with your specific talent and specific interest. So they are looking more into your motive, who you are, rather than the art piece itself.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Another question was, if you can name a couple of best competitions for students to do, for them to add into their applications, what would you say those would be?
Now, I would like to encourage that there is no hierarchy in these programs. Now, I did see individuals who were so passionate in environmental issues. Now, she attended a seminar during summer in Paris where she interviewed different individuals who were so passionate in the new movement and the social justice that is associated with this environment. It is not a program associated with UCs, but it was an amazing essay that I saw with her. It wasn't necessarily a specific program that is more prestige and more harder to get in, but it was her passion. So to answer this question, I would say, ask yourself, what do you really want to experience? Now, if you want to double check, triple check if this is the right major for you, go try it out. The experience that you value, I think it's the best experience that you should proceed.
Awesome. Thank you. We had some questions about like UC GPA. I know you mentioned it in your seminar, but I think maybe some people were a little bit unclear. So, like, does the UC GPA get converted to a different GPA? What do ninth grade count as a weighted GPA? So there were some questions about that.
Yes, that's a great question. Now, in UC specific, they have an A through G requirement. So what that means is in each and every different school, they might have some very unique engineering programs, college preparatory programs, seminar programs. However, UC will not calculate those special programs into their GPA count. They will only count the A through G requirement, and it is founded in the UC website. So all California students, if you look at your transcript, there is a UC GPA calculated. UC GPA에 대해서는 굉장히 질문이 많이 있는 걸로 알고 있어요. UC GPA는 A through G requirement만 합산을 하고요. 이게 9학년, 10학년 이렇게 가는 게 아니고요. A through G requirement의 수업에 한해서 A는 4점, B는 3점 이렇게 해가지고 GPA를 따로 환산을 하고요. 캘리포니아에 있는 학생들 같은 경우에는 트랜스크립트를 뽑아보면은 UC GPA라고 따로 명시되어 있는 것들을 볼 수 있습니다. UC에서는 UC GPA를 사용하고 A through G requirement를만 calculate 해가지고 UC GPA를 산출한다는 점 참고해 주시면 좋을 것 같아요.
Beautiful. Love the Korean and English. That's perfect. Okay, so this is a really good question. I actually have this same kind of question as well. But what advice do you have for students who don't really have a strong selling point? They're just kind of what they consider to be just average academically, extracurricular advice, awards. Like, what advice would you have for students that are what they call average?
I think this is a great question. This is actually a lot of our students' biggest question. And I say each and every individual's specific reason why you study, why you go to school, why you want to proceed further education, that itself is unique. Yes, I understand that it is your specific project and it doesn't really look that special because it's not the number one, you haven't received the award. However, I want to ask you this question. Why did you do it? Why do you want to do it? Your specific reasons are very unique. I want to give this emphasis to all of you guys. Yes, it is very challenging and stressful. Yes, it might seem that you're behind because your competitor, the student next to you seems to have all the great things. However, your specific reasonings are very, very unique. I want you to know that each and every individual's thought process, the reason why you did that, the reason why you selected art, why you selected woodcraft, why you selected culinary. Yes, it's just an elective course, but it might actually bring up some very, very nice stories because the reason behind those actions always are valuable. And in UCs, like I said, they're looking for holistic review. What does that mean? They want to know that why factor. So I want you to know that you are special. Your thought process are very creative. It might not seem creative because it is your thoughts, but if I hear those thoughts, I'm pretty sure it's creative. So please don't doubt yourself. Your specific reasonings are always good enough.
I love that. You're not average is what Ryan wants to say. You are special and you can do this. I love that. That's so great. Okay, a couple more questions here. What are some unconventional ways for students to stand out in college admissions process?
I think an unconventional way is to actually be able to look into those motives and connect those motives in an interdisciplinary way. Now, yes, process of elimination is one way to find an answer, right? Now, if you tried something and you hated it, it's fine. You can find an answer, not necessarily to pinpoint an answer, but you can eliminate things. I want that story of process of elimination. I want the story of what you went through, how the thought process that you went through, and all of those process of elimination to find those answers, that journey is an unconventional way because it's very, very unique. It will not overlap with any other applicants. But if you were to talk about a singular competition, a singular research, a singular area, it might overlap with other competitors. So I would say the unconventional way, the unique way to process is for you to go through the entire process of the process of elimination, how you found that passion, how you found that singular major, explain into your demeanor rather than in competitions.
That's perfect. More questions. I'm more confident in my extracurricular activities than I am with my GPA. Am I eligible for the UCs or am I a good candidate for the UCs?
Of course, that is why in UCs they give you 8 different choices and to answer the PIQs. Now, if you look at those 8 questions, there are contribution factors, there are academic factors, but there's leadership factors, there's other factors, non-academic factors that you can demonstrate. If you have very specific passion about within the non-academic elements, I highly recommend you to express your excellence into the PIQs. And that's how you can emphasize who you are within the non-academic elements.
Great. And this is kind of a myth buster question for you, Ryan. True or false statement? You have a better chance of getting accepted to a UC school if you're an out-of-state applicant. This specific person says the stats show that there's a higher acceptance rate for out-of-state students and international students because there's more money. True or false statement?
False. Now, in UCs, there are a certain sector that they accept in out-of-state and international. Now, it might be true in some cases that we get less applicants in international for a very specific university, and the stat results might reflect to be a little bit easier than the in-state students. However, it is not necessarily true that there is a beneficial aspects to it.
Agreed. I agree with that wholeheartedly. UCs were created for in-state students in California, so that's perfect, Ryan. If we were to take part-time jobs over the summer, what jobs would UC schools notice the most?
Again, there is no hierarchy. If there is a specific reason why you want to participate in that job, I want to know that reason rather than the job itself. So please express why you want that job, how you got that job, or the journey that the whole journey that you decided to get that job is more interest in the UC committee rather than the fact that you have a job.
Beautiful. Last question before we go into our lottery. Do students who submit the college application well before the application deadline have an advantage?
Not necessarily. However, the reason why we emphasize to start early is because in college applications, I'm pretty sure you gave the best in your application. However, I strongly recommend you to have it reviewed with your peers, with your mentors, with your teachers, because all of those individuals' comments might help. And you might want to double check, triple check. You don't want to procrastinate this college application. That is the reason why we always emphasize to start early, but not necessarily beneficial aspects before the deadline. Because it's not a rolling admissions. Now, if you look at some of the private colleges, you might notice it's a rolling admissions. That means it might be beneficial for you to apply early. However, UCs have a very specific deadline. Therefore, it is not necessarily beneficial submitting applications early.
Thank you, Ryan. That was wonderful. Ryan, you've been so helpful. I'm sure a lot of listeners now know how to tackle the UC application. If you guys are interested in Ryan from A1 College Prep, you guys can always contact A1 College Prep for a free 1-hour consultation. Let them know that you attended the Korea Times College Expo. With that, we're going to go into